I think for myself, taking kids out in the middle of nowhere was a crazy idea because I've taken some kids out of town and staying overnight and things like that. I'm like, why would you ever want to do something like that?
It's kind of a crazy idea. One, can I handle it? And then two, can a dozen or 15 kids, how do they respond to it? Can we even get that many to, give up their weekend and go to somewhere and do something that's completely unknown to them, because a small handful of them have been camping before, but they hadn't done anything like this. So it was a big test.
For me, it was the chance to get different groups of kids together on our team, seniors, juniors, different colors, races, all of that. It's forcing a situation on these kids that they're going to have to be in a locker room together. They're going to have to make decisions on the field together. They might as well figure out how to do it now, early, before we get started, into deep in the off season or spring football or summertime, all that. If we get the biggest core of leaders that we have to get that thought process working early, hopefully that carries into, we don't have to work as hard at that, and we can work on other things as coaches.
If we could pull a group of kids out and build leaders that way, then it's almost like a pyramid scheme, right? Then that kid can go off, hopefully, the rest of the off season, and within our program and school and life, maybe they can sprinkle some of the stuff they learned to the next person. I thought that was a really good thing. And then if they got nothing else out of it, they went somewhere that they've never been, done something they've never done. And a lot of them probably never will again, but that's okay. They've done it. And it was an accomplishment. I really think it was an accomplishment to be able to finish and say that you did it.
We end up having 12 go. We started kind of with a group of, I think, around 25 kind of initially that, these were the ones that we kind of singled out as leaders or potential leaders going into next season. And we kind of dwindled it down a little bit, and we shot for 15 and got 12. I mean, it was kind of shock and awe to some of them when they kind of found out what the thought of it was that they were going to be doing. When we got in Arkansas, there was still a couple of them that didn't fully understand exactly what we were going to be doing. So, I mean, there was, oh yeah, we're going to go camping, we're going to go walk a little bit to a spot. And so there was some shock and awe, and it was really cool to see them move past that and start to understand the big picture of where they were going, what they were going to do, and really grow just in something that they're never seen before. A lot of them are never done. And like Coach Mash said, some of them might not ever do anything like that again.
Once we actually got there, there was 2, 3, 4 kids that, oh my God, I've never seen so many trees. That if you don't get out of the city much, it's a completely different world. I mean, it's really a whole different world for a large group of our kids.
It was so awesome to see our kids grow in that leadership, in that becoming a better person, better man role that they got through this. So it was really good. My expectations were blown out of the water for especially 2 or 3 of our kids that I never would have thought it would have happened to them like that. By the second night around the campfire, we had guys that, like I said, I wouldn't have thought to speak up and talk and hold a conversation with. They're telling stories and making fun of each other, and they're right in the middle of it. And I would have never guessed that they would have been that vocal by the end of the trip.
They grew really quickly, and whether it's leadership, or like Coach Foster said, the stories and talking around the campfire and stuff, you saw trust being built really fast also, which was a really cool thing. Coach Foster and I were at the back of the pack on the first day, and it's early in the morning. We're back there with Greg, making sure the stragglers don't straggle too far away, And our kids were blazing the trail, they were setting a pace, and they kind of ran off and left a couple of their guys. And
that's what our first set of leaders took to it, I think, was how fast can we get there? And all the leaders are up front. All the fastest guys are chasing them. And then all of a sudden we've lost 2. Once everybody got there and safe and understood what had happened, there's a good time to say that some of the best leaders can lead from the front. They can lead next to you. And sometimes they might have to lead from behind so that others can get ahead and make sure that everybody's okay. It's just a good point to figure out, where do leaders need to be on a team, in a trail, or, in life. That was probably the biggest moment of learning that we faced.
And I think that was a real early aha moment, kind of light bulb. Hey, they would have been lost for hours at least if they had kept going by themselves, So that was a big deal. The growing around the campfire, there was real intent. It was like the trust was exploding almost. Some of them really opened up and told some things that probably hadn't told anybody else.
They interacted being outside, cooking s'mores and talking to each other about it. It was just, that's one of the coolest things. I'm glad I got to see a bunch of kids experience it for the first time. They've never seen anything like that or been around a campfire or crossed a river together like that with heavy packs on. It was cool to see the majority learn and have a good time while they're doing it.
Hey, you're going to go do something that's really awesome. And it's also really tough. So are you man enough to do it is one thing. This is something that it's going to stick with you probably for the rest of your life. You'll have conversations, people that you would never dream of because it's an intimate group. So you can have close conversations that aren't going to leave the campfire, and you can kind of open up and really become vulnerable, which is something that's kind of suppressed a lot of times because it's such a macho world.
You take a group that you want to make better, be better people, better leaders, but whatever it is, if you want to make them better, you're going to get everything out of it that you want. But if you go into it looking at it of just, this is a camping trip, I'm just here as a chaperone, I would rather be somewhere else doing something different on the golf course or whatever it is, you're going to get exactly that out of it. You better be still reserved for yourself. And if you want to make it a great trip and make great leaders, then that's going to happen for you, and vice versa. If you don't want to do it, it's not going to happen.
Do you actually care about the kids in your program? If you do, challenge yourself and do it, because it will be a challenge for you as a coach as well. Physically, mentally, all those things. It's a challenge. Okay? But we've got to get out of our comfort zone if we're really going to build something. Everything in our world is meant for us to be more comfortable. You've got to get out there and have a little bit of discomfort. And like Coach Foster said, if you're going to gripe and grumble about it, then it's probably not for you. Okay. You better have your mind and your heart open, because it's going to change both of them if you go out there and you do the thing right. If you go out there willing and wanting to spend some time with your kids and get them into a better spot as people.